How did you meet Mom?
So, rewind to 2006. We had recently started Renewal by Andersen. At the time, we only had a few employees, so we were all running appointments. We were all unboxing the truck. Some of us were installing, some of us were answering phones. And the Jones family called because they needed new windows. What immediately stuck out to me about them is their bond with their kids. I just thought to myself, like, this is the kind of family I want to grow up to have. And we were fortunate enough to do 3 phases of windows for them. Some doors, some windows, got to know them really well. Some customers you just become friends with, and they go past just the customer level. And Jeff and Molly and their family were that customer. And in 2016, Molly called me. I could tell the tone in her voice was a little bit different. And she asked to have a business meeting, but didn't give a lot of details. When she came to our showroom, I could see, very determined look on her face. And we sat down and had a conversation, and I found out that one of her children, Pete, had taken his life. But knowing the Jones family and what I learned about them through, them being a customer, I knew better that they would let that define them. So Molly was there to inform me about the Pete Foundation.
Immediately, my other brothers and I came together and said, we have to start this organization in Pete's name so that we can honor him, but also help other people who may be suffering like he was, and help other families so other families don't have to go through this, and raise awareness about mental health to make it known how big of an issue this is.
They wanted to start a 501(c) and then a music festival, as much as Pete loved music and their family loves music, to start the Big Stomp.
And combating the stigma, we've done a couple things. One thing, immediately, we started to plan for a music festival, which we have just completed our 7th annual multi-day music festival, the first in the nation, centered around removing the stigma attached to mental health, mental illness.
I enjoyed that there was mental health booths, things like that, of all different genres. There was meditation areas. There was little tents for privacy that you could just go and disconnect, but it was still out and you could feel the vibe of being there.
Something that was cool and different from other festivals I've been to were the areas that they had set aside, like actual mental health services that people could dip into a little bit, like an equine therapy setup, something that I'd never even heard of before. One, that awareness that it raised, but two, the fact that people could test it out and see if that helped calm them down.
We wanted a way to bring the topic of mental health into everyday conversation, into everyday life, and a music festival is a fun setting. It is an opportunity to just keep raising awareness about mental health.
Immediately, we understood that if we want to look at stopping suicides in this key age group of 15 to 24, we have to give adolescents resources. We have to focus on mental health and mental wellness in the adolescent years so that we raise teenagers and young adults with some resiliency and with understanding of what mental illness looks like and how to express their feelings and that they're suffering a mental illness so that they can seek care, so that they can seek the right care at the right time.
I lived in a household and grew up in a very mental health is not a real issue type household. And I think that if I had had more support around the fact that, anxiety exists and depression is real and it's not just excuses, it's not just, it's not weakness, I think maybe I would have had a better time coping with the tragedies that have happened in my life, since my mom died.
stomping the stigma of mental health and exposing it, open door policies, being able to talk about it is critical because you can't resolve anything if it's not discussed. Typically, the best way to get a resolution is to discuss it. And if we can unite on stomping this stigma of mental health and it being behind closed doors, then we're all headed in a better direction.
Time and appropriate care are critical when someone is suffering mental illness. And I can be honest and say, in Pete's case, we lost time and we didn't understand what appropriate care he needed. We formed the Pete Foundation so that others don't suffer that.